What's up, everybody, and welcome back to McTech. I've had this Logitech mouse for 2 weeks now, and I think it's about time to do the review. So here we go. So like I said, I've had this thing for about 2 weeks now, and it's been an absolute pleasure. I went from a G9X, which I still have 2 of, to this. One of the big differences between the two is the G9X is a laser sensor, and this one, I'm going to correct myself from the old video, is a LED powered optical sensor. So that's one of the differences there. Also, this is a wireless mouse, and one of the key points, 2 key points actually for this mouse, are that the polling rate is pretty quick on this. It's 500 megahertz, whereas on some wire connections you can get up to 1000 megahertz or gigahertz. 500 megahertz should be good for just about any gamer. So that's pretty nice, and also the battery life is extremely long. They say with performance mode enabled, that's green for power saving mode, blue is for performance mode, so you can see that there. I only run this in performance mode. They say the battery life on those 2 AA's is 250 hours at least, and probably longer. So that's plenty of time. To me, there's almost no reason to run it outside of that spec unless you're not doing anything that you need the response for, I guess. But to be honest, I didn't really notice a difference when I switched it off, but I don't care. I'd rather have the performance. So let's kind of go over what the other buttons do. So again, this was your performance setting right there. This is your mouse wheel, and it's ratcheted. And I'm going to go ahead and say that it's not as defined as the G9X. It's very good. It feels very nice. But when you're rolling it, you're not always... It doesn't have the click feedback that the G9X had. But I'm okay with it. I've gotten used to it over the time. These are the 2 DPI buttons right here. This is DPI up and DPI down. And then you've got 6 buttons over here. And I'll kind of go over what my buttons are set for in Battlefield 3. So right here, this is the bottom row right here. You've got the 3 buttons. This is my record on and off. This right here, okay, is my is reload. And this back here is toggle your flashlight, laser, whatever. And these up here are my 1, 2, 3. So you've got your number 1, number 2, number 3. For items out of your kit. Let me show you the bottom of the mouse. Okay, so there's the sensor and on-off switch, and really nice trackpads. The trackpads on this are awesome. Like I've showed you before, it glides very well. It feels very good. It's very balanced. So as far as like range and response, the response has been absolute perfect. I've had no issues. I'm using the cable that came with it, the extender for the USB, and that's coming out of the back of my motherboard and then ends up underneath one of my monitors. So the mouse is usually fairly close, but I've taken it further away, and I must say that I've put it in a worst case scenario of, I would say, about 6 feet away, with my HTC One laying next to it, my laptop laying next to it, another wireless adapter laying next to it, and then another wireless adapter on top of that next to it. And there was 0 interference issues or any problems whatsoever. So as far as the wireless function of it goes, it's 100% perfect. I can't say anything bad about it. Like I said, response is also very, very good. Kind of like the MX1000, you can see this has a thumb rest, which the G9X did not have. So this took a little bit to get used to. One of the differences between this mouse, I'm going to have my hand on it here so you can kind of see, and some of the other mice is that with this thumb rest being here, if you're not on a completely flat surface, this sensor has a tendency to, unless it's pretty much very close to the surface or on it, it doesn't pick up anything. Okay? This is not a problem for just about anybody else, but I've noticed that some mice you can lift them up and move them, and they still get some kind of reading, which can be good and bad depending on how you use your mouse. For me, I like it this way. But I must say that the sensor is absolutely perfect. It works on many surfaces, from wood. I've had it work on glass, and I use my Razer pad. I've got a mouse pad for it. So that's pretty cool. So all in all, this is very, very good mouse. I've played everything from Battlefield to Magic the Gathering to Grand Theft Auto, you name it, I've played it with this mouse. The only problem that I have with the mouse, and this is my problem, not the mouse's fault, is that as you can see, during DPI changing while you're gaming, my finger is too short to correctly press this button up here to make the DPI go back up. This one is fine, but unless I like angle my finger up a little bit, it's hard for me to do that. But that's okay with me because I don't change my DPI settings that much anyway. The reason is because I'm just so used to not doing it. I've tried it with the G9X in Battlefield when you're sniping, and yes, it can definitely help, but that's either something that in Battlefield 4, which is right around the corner, I'll have to get accustomed to doing, or just dealing and playing with it like I always have for 10 years of Battlefield under my belt. You know, I've never really changed DPI settings too much. The mouse is very comfortable for the long run. This has a textured surface down here, so it's very, very comfortable. And the mouse stays surprisingly clean after hours and hours of gaming. And I know that's a really weird comment, but as you know, some mice accrue dust in certain, and finger grime in certain places, and I have not noticed that here. Everything stays very nice. This grippy pad right here is just a treat, and it sits right in the middle of your palm, and I don't know if you can see it in the camera. There you go. It's got grooves in it, so it lets your hands breathe a little bit while you're doing extended sessions. And this textured surface, and I can't even really tell you what it feels like. It's almost like a rhino liner. Goes all the way around. Okay, so let me kind of twist this guy around here. You can see the other side. There you go. Let me show you the front. So there you go. So the only things that I would change is a little bit more of a definition of the ratchet in the wheel, and then maybe some kind of groovy surface on the wheel, although I haven't missed it. Again, this is just personal preference, and so on and so on. So this has been my review of the Logitech G602, which has now become my primary mouse, and I am extremely glad that it has. It is a wonderful device. It's under $100. And I can literally say nothing bad about it. The only recommendation is always use a flat surface that you're on, because this right here protrudes quite far, and if the mouse comes up, let me show you from this angle, even a little bit like this, you lose sensor the detection that it's reading off of the pad or any surface that it's on, so you can get a skip. So this thing needs to be on all the time, on its surface, and that's pretty much the only issues that I've had that aren't really issues. Again, these are personal preferences. So that is my review of the Logitech G602. If you're interested in a gaming mouse that also is wireless and performs the way a gaming mouse should, this is pretty much my one stop as far as a gaming mouse goes this year in 2013. So I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.